It's election time in Illinois. David Smith, the executive director of the Illinois Family Institute, says the outcome of the voting will weigh on the future of our state.
If we want to stop anti-family policies or help promote family policies, then we need to elect godly leaders from Illinois, good conservative candidates who share our values on life and marriage and religious liberty.
Illinois voters will elect a governor, lieutenant governor, U.S. senator, U.S. representatives, attorney general, secretary of state, state treasurer, comptroller, and members of the General Assembly.
We need godly leadership in Springfield.
Meantime, voters statewide will decide on constitutional amendment questions. One would codify voter rights for minorities, women, and homosexuals. An advisory referendum asks if all prescription insurance programs should include birth control. State Representative Jeannie Ives says that could force employers to provide coverage for abortion-inducing drugs, regardless of their religious beliefs.
Yes, I asked that question on the floor on whether or not Plan B or the morning after pill would be included in that, and the sponsor would not directly answer my question, just saying that all birth control would be, subject to this. And she wouldn't answer a number of questions like whether or not she believed in the Supreme Court's decision that dealt with the I'm forgetting now, but I think the Little Women of the Poor, who actually said we don't think we should have to provide for this, whether or not she would uphold a Supreme Court decision like that. She would not answer that question either. Instead, they just simply pass this on as a referendum question. There are bigger, more important questions to ask the populace in the state of Illinois than whether or not they should have all insurance companies should provide birth control.
Along with ballot measures and political candidates, Cook County voters will decide on judicial candidates. IFI's David Smith says a check of their endorsements will help determine if they're liberal or conservative.
For example, there's the Gay and Lesbian Bar Association that makes endorsements every year. Planned Parenthood, Emily's List, they make endorsements. Illinois Citizens for Life. So you can make a fairly educated decision on where the judge stands on the issues by who's endorsing them.
But for many Illinois voters, the spotlight in this election is on the race for governor. Democratic incumbent Pat Quinn and Republican challenger Bruce Rauner have been focusing on education and economic matters. Mr. Rauner has indicated that if he's elected, he'll govern as a fiscal conservative and contends he has no social agenda. Ryan T. Anderson with the Heritage Foundation tells IllinoisFamily.org News that's a strategy being embraced by a number of Republican candidates this election.
One of the things that I think we're particularly seeing this election cycle are people saying, let's just not talk about the social issues, let's just focus on fiscal issues. And that is probably one of the biggest lies that's being peddled right now. You cannot have limited government unless you have a strong civil society. And you can't have a strong civil society unless you have strong families. So the only way you can be a fiscal conservative is if you're also a social conservative. Those two sets of values go hand in hand. They're indivisible.
Making the right ballot decisions will require voters to do some homework. John Kirkwood, the pastor of Grace Gospel Fellowship in Bensonville and associate director of the Christian Emergency League, says it's not enough for Christians to simply vote.
At the place we are in our country, not only do you have to vote, you have to inform others, you have to recruit others who are like-minded, and when you get into the ballot place, you have to vote your Christian values.
Calvin Lindstrom, the pastor of the Church of Christian Liberty in Arlington Heights, is also a founder of the Christian Emergency League. He endorses the Illinois Family Institute Voter Guide, explaining that it informs voters about issues that affect family and faith.
Perhaps you can do other research, but start there so that you know the names, you know the races, but it's a great starting point. Share that with family and friends also. Because we don't want to be uninformed voters or just going by what we see on TV, hearing on the radio. That would be a disaster.
Click the voter guide icon at IllinoisFamily.org for a downloadable version of the IFI Voter Guide, or visit ilvoterguide.com. And IFI's David Smith says Christians should ask for God's direction as they vote this election.
Let's be in prayer, crying out to God for godly leadership, His mercy.
A final note. Please subscribe to the IFI YouTube channel. For IllinoisFamily.org News, I'm Monty Larrick.
This has been brought to you by the Illinois Family Institute, promoting marriage, family, life, and liberty in the land of Lincoln. For more information, go to IllinoisFamily.org.